So I'll confirm, Chair, when we're live, okay?
Yep.
Oh, Ian has just put in the chat box that we are live. So thank you, Chairman. Over to you.
Thank you, Helen, and good afternoon, everybody. It's lovely to see so many of you for this SACRE meeting. Welcome to our virtual meeting of the Cornwall SACRE. Before consideration of today's business, I will outline the protocols for the meeting. Today's meeting is being live streamed to the public via Microsoft Teams and is also being recorded. When speaking, members of the SACRE may choose to use your video. If the Council's live stream fails during the meeting and we cannot share the proceedings, I will adjourn the meeting so that access can be restored. If the issue cannot be resolved, I will halt the meeting and the remaining business will be conducted at a future date. If a member of SACRE experiences a technical issue, I will adjourn for a short period to try to re-establish your connection. As I call members to speak, I will try to remember to ask you to switch on your microphone. And if for some reason you cannot be heard, I'm sure we will remind you. And as Helen has made clear already, when you want to speak, if you use the raise hand function, I will be looking out for it and will then be able to call you to speak. Votes will be taken by roll call and the result announced by Helen, the Democratic Services Officer. Where a member of SACRE has declared a non-registrable interest, a disclosable pecuniary interest, or an interest by virtue of any trade union membership in a matter, they must leave the virtual meeting. Their departure will be confirmed and they will be invited to rejoin the meeting at the appropriate time. To confirm the procedure for today's meeting, if you wish to speak, please raise your hand. So that's the end of my formal announcement. And before we begin the agenda, I will ask Helen, as Democratic Services Officer, to confirm members and officers' attendance. Thank you, Helen.
Thank you, Chairman. If I can just ask everybody to introduce themselves, and I will just go down the participant list in the order that it appears on my screen. So firstly, Anna Corbett.
I'm here.
Okay, would you like to introduce yourself for the purposes of the live stream, please, Anna?
Oh, I'm Anna Corbett and I am a representative of the Church of England.
Great, thank you. And Clifford Banfield? Clifflyn, you're on mute.
Sorry. Hi, I'm Clifflyn Benfield and I am the consultant to SACRE.
Thank you. And Liz Sanders?
I am Linda Sanders and I'm here on behalf of the Baptist churches.
Thank you. And David Barton?
Hello, David Barton, representing Cornwall Association of Secondary Head Teachers and ASCL, the Head Teachers Union.
Thank you. And Dr. Rafai?
Yes, I'm Duraid Rifai, Chairman of the Cornwall Islamic Centre.
Thank you. And Elizabeth Folkes?
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Folkes and I'm on Group A for the Methodist Church.
Thank you. And Felicity Henchley?
I'm Felicity Henchley and I'm Group B Church of England representative and Vice Chair.
Thank you. And Greg Parrick? Greg, are you there?
Hello.
Hello, could you introduce yourself, please, Greg?
I'm Greg Parrick. I'm on Group C, representing Cornwall Association for Teachers of RE.
Thank you. And Graham Plunkett?
Good afternoon, Graham Plunkett, School Effectiveness Officer, Cornwall Council.
Thank you. And Joe Brooke?
Hello, Joe Brooke, representative from Cornwall Humanists.
Thank you. And John Keast?
Hello, John Keast, sit on Committee A, representing the Methodist Church and Chair of Sacre.
Thank you. And Linda Rudge?
Good afternoon, Linda Rudge, and I'm another of the Sacre consultants.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Could you try sitting a bit nearer your speaker, perhaps? I don't know if other members of Sacre have found that. I couldn't hear Linda to start off with. Thank you, Linda. And Loveday Jenkins?
Hello, I'm Loveday Jenkins, and I'm a Cornwall Council representative on Sacre.
Thank you. And Maggie Thompson?
Hello, I'm Maggie Thompson. I'm in Group A as a Catholic representative.
Thank you. And Councillor Mike Thomas?
Hello, I'm Councillor Mike Thomas, representative from the Independent Group.
Thank you. And Patrick Buckley?
Hi, I'm Patrick Buckley and I represent the Independent Churches.
Thank you. And Councillor Pete Mitchell?
Hello, Pete Mitchell, Cornwall Councillor for St Agnes.
Thank you. And Rita Stephen?
Hello, I'm Rita Stephen. I'm representative of Cornwall Faith Forum.
Thank you. And Sandy Easterbrook?
Hello, I'm Sandy Easterbrook, representing Group A and the Catholic Church.
Thank you. And Sue Nicholas?
Hello, I'm Sue Nicholas, representing Group A, Methodist Church.
Lovely, thank you. That's everybody. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, everyone, for introducing yourselves, and it's lovely to see you, especially those who are joining Sacre for the first time. So we begin our agenda, and item 1 is apologies for absence. Helen, would you like to tell us who we've had apologies from?
I've received a Patty Fitzsimmons and Mike Heron. I don't know if anybody's got any more apologies.
None that I'm aware of.
Okay, thank you. Could I just say, Chairman, as well, that Bonnie Rockley has just joined us by telephone. So welcome, Bonnie. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us which group you represent, please?
Hello, I'm Bonnie Rockley and I represent the Jewish community. And I will have to go on mute shortly because I've got a baby on my lap who's getting grizzly and tired.
Okay, Bonnie, we are on live stream and I will mute you should we need to. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Lucky you, if anyone gets grizzly and tired, we don't have the opportunity of muting ourselves, I'm afraid. So we just have to grin and bear it. Well, thank you all. So item 2 is declarations of interest, and so I invite anyone who's got interest to declare it now. I hear none, and I shall generally take silence to mean no objections to whatever I'm proposing at the time. So unless you have something specific you must then say. So item 3 brings us to the minutes of our last meeting, which was also a virtual meeting. It took place on the 29th of September. It seems quite a long time ago to me now. They came in your papers. I just need to find out if any of you have got any amendments to the minutes to suggest for accuracy. I hear you've got your hand up.
Yeah, it's just on page 2. It was just 2 words, and it's agenda number 6, B. and it says curriculum Canuic materials had been pulled together, and I'm wondering whether it should that be would be pulled together, because later in the sentence we've got would be kept up to date with any developments.
Sorry, can you remind us?
So page 2
of the minutes or the whole agenda paper?
No, it's the minutes.
Page 2 of the minutes, yep.
And agenda number 6. And it's a B. Curriculum Canuic, so it starts curriculum Canuic materials.
I don't understand the reference because my page 2 of the minutes doesn't have a number 6 on it, item 6 on it.
Oh, it just says Sacre budget summary, but then it goes agenda number 6, then it says RE/4.
My eye skipped over the brackets. I saw
okay.
Right, so B, curriculum Canuic materials
had been pulled together. Should that read would be pulled together?
No, it's had been. Can I comment on that? Because it's my bit of the minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the situation is that a new page has been created on School Messenger for curriculum Canuic, which is the overall curriculum Canuic across the whole of the curriculum, not just RE, which is part of the Cornish National Minorities Project. So on that page, we pulled together the existing units, which were only RE at that point. So those units were put onto that page with a link to the agreed syllabus. Other units of work for other subjects, there's some work already been done on the PSHE curriculum, which is about to go onto there in the next month or so. And there are working groups being put together for English, science and PE, I believe, as the next 3 subject strands for that curriculum Canuic units to sit alongside the English National Curriculum, okay? With regard to the RE units, though, we've recognised that those units are from the previous agreed syllabus because they were pulled across from the old curriculum Canuic RE site that was belonged to AZUC, and we're in the process of discussing with RE today how we extract the units from their new agreed syllabus document and update the site with the current new curriculum Canuic RE units. I think that's the fullest explanation I can give.
Thank you very much indeed, Graham. Are you happy to withdraw your Felicity? Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
It's nice to know that the minutes were scrutinised in such detail.
Yes.
Does anyone else have a suggested amendment to make to the minutes, please? I see nobody's hand up. So would someone like, please, to propose that we accept the minutes and then someone else to second that proposal?
I'm happy to propose. It's Anna Corbett here. I'm trying to put my hand up.
Thank you, Anna. So Anna proposes. Anyone seconding, please?
Yes, Bonnie Rockley.
Thank you, Bonnie. Now we have to take a vote, I think, Helen, don't we?
Yes, please, Chairman. If I can take a vote, which will be by roll call in groups, please. So if I can ask everybody in turn, you're voting for, against or abstaining. So starting with you, please, Chairman.
For.
Thank you. And Linda Sanders.
For.
Thank you. And Patrick Buckley.
For.
Thank you. And Bonnie Rockley.
For.
Thank you. And Elizabeth Folkes.
For.
Thank you. And Sue Nicholas.
Abstain.
Thank you. And Maggie Thompson.
Abstain.
Thank you. And Sandy Easterbrook.
For.
Thank you. That's Group A. So now moving on to Group B, please. Anna Corbett.
Helen, I'm sorry to interrupt.
For.
Yes, Chairman.
Simply that Sacre votes by committee, and that means that Committee A has voted in favour.
Yes, okay. I will. Thank you, Chairman. I'll announce that as we go per group then, rather than at the end. That's okay. Yes, so as the chairman has just confirmed, Group A have voted unanimously for. So Group B, please. Anna Corbett.
For.
Thank you. And Katie is not here. And Felicity Henchley.
For.
Thank you. That's Group B in favour. Thank you. And Group C, David Barton.
For.
Thank you, David. That's Group C has agreed. And Group D, Councillor Jenkin.
For.
Thank you. Councillor Thomas.
For.
Thank you. And Councillor Mitchell.
Abstain.
Thank you. That's Group D in favour. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you all very much indeed. So that proposal's carried, the minutes have been accepted. Item 4, public questions and statements to the Standing Advisory Council. I have received none. I don't know, Helen, whether you've received any.
None received, Chairman.
Thank you. So we move on to item number 5, which is a membership report by Helen as the clerk of the SACRE. Over to you, Helen.
Thank you, Chairman. We have in Group A, Dr. Rafai is seeking confirmation from the Muslim community of furthering his 4-year period that has expired. Group B, we are running with 1 vacancy, which hasn't been filled. Group C, the teacher body representatives. Greg Parrick is representing Cornwall Association for Religious Education, and his membership has expired. That group is no longer in existence. Greg is here today, and he's going to become a member of another teacher body representative, which will be confirmed before our next meeting. And we're running with a vacancy on special education, but our officer, Graham Plunkett, has given me the contact details of somebody to contact for that, Guy Chappell. I've sent him an email, so I'm hoping that for the next meeting, we should have a representative from special education as well. I'm continuing to chase the Voice Union. They may be getting a field officer, so I've sent them the dates of all the meetings, but I haven't heard anything back yet. And then we have our 3 local authority representatives, and we've currently got 3 co-opted members. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Helen. And just a little comment on the list. Although there are still some vacancies there are fewer vacancies than there used to be, which is a positive sign. And our attendance today is good. So thank you very much for ensuring that the SACRE is moving in the right direction. Now we come to a more substantive item on our agenda, and that's our budget summary report on page 6 of our agenda papers. And I'm going to ask Graham, who was one of the authors of this report, to introduce it to us.
Right, good afternoon again. So budget report, I think relatively straightforward this time compared to last, because we tied up some loose ends in the previous report at the last meeting. Basically, you all had, I hope, had a chance to read it. The key issues here are to approve today the spending plans for the action plan, which you'll hear about later. I've got 2 recommendations really to discuss. One is to agree to leave the LTLRE money where it is and not draw it down. I mean, it's an option, but we don't need it in the budget that's set out in this plan. It will be, in my opinion, it will be prudent to leave it where it is for future use. particularly bearing in mind that now we look like we might be moving back into real world space meetings once the vaccination program starts and things start to return to normal. And at that point, we may need money for venues and lunches and all the other costs that come with physical meeting. So my proposal would be we'd left that money where it is. The second proposal is that the 2,500 that's been held for us by cash, Cornwall Association of Secretary Heads, that's via back to education, as technically, you know, it's public money and it ought really to sit in one of our budgets. The alternative will be that we retain that for contingencies, but given that the spending is very tight and the local government finances are as tight as anybody's, I'm sure, it would probably be prudent to put that back into education. And we know we've got the LTLRE money to fall back on. If that £2,500 was returned back into the education main budget, that would be a very small drop in the ocean, but I'm sure it'd be appreciated by schools and other settings. So then at the bottom of the report, you've got the supporting information. Item 11 is the table reflecting the current budget. You'll see there that we've got some spending already done this year. Mostly that's postage, posting out the physical paper copies of the agreed syllabus. Large envelopes have to be purchased and a lot of stamps. And also some consultant time has been paid for. The rest of the details there I will leave for Linda and Cliffy to talk about when it comes to talking about the action plan. The reason there's a contingency for curriculum Kenuic, they will explain, but as I've already suggested, there's a lot of curriculum Kenuic work to be done as a major strand of the education services work. That has to go from Kate Evan Hughes, Director of Education, through the Cornwall National Minorities Project Working Party, which has council representation on it, and then that will become more publicly known and more publicly available to you as a vision before we put it into action. Is that an adequate summary of what you've got on paper anyway? Any questions? Is that? Oh, it's not up to me. It's up to John. Sorry.
Yes. Any more questions to Graham, please? No one's has gone up on the raised hand facility. I should just like to make a comment myself.
Yeah.
And someone else, yes, my Councillor Thomas.
Yeah, thank you, Graham, for your presentation there and comments, and through you, John. I'm looking at the item of the £2,500 held by cash. What can I ask? Why it was given to cash to look after in the first place?
I'm unable to comment on that because it's before my time.
David, I don't know whether you are able to comment on that. I see your hand is up anyway, so perhaps you would like to include a comment on that as well. Over to you, David.
Yes, it was quite simply, Mike, that we knew it was 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember how it fell with financial years, but Tim Osborne was the officer at the time who was at Sacre, and there was a concern that they didn't want to spend. There's £2,500 left in the budget, and the feeling was, rather than just spend it for the sake of spending it, the recommendation to Sacre was that it be held somewhere so it didn't just get lost in year-end wrap-up budgets, because we knew we were going to have the costs of the new agreed syllabus, the training going with it, and so cash was approached. Could you please just hold it until such times as it was needed for that contingency purpose? So in that sense, that's what it was there for.
Yeah, I would personally be reluctant for it to simply go back to education. That money was obviously identified for RE, and we've got so many projects here that have been written about on page 12. I would personally prefer to see that money being set into one of the projects. I note for Strand D, there's issue of some of this cost will be met through other LA budgets. Then that would to be my mind as to where it goes, so that nobody can in the future say we haven't got the money. But for it just to disappear into the education budget, £2,500 in terms of RE money is a significant sum, I believe. I'm not sure how my other councillors feel.
That's certainly, if I just interject there, can I agree with Mike? That's certainly where Tim was coming from, that in terms, as Graham has suggested, in terms of the global education budget across Cornwall, it's a small amount. In terms of the SACRE annual amount, it is a significant amount.
Yes.
Thank you very much indeed. Now, the next person to put their hand up was Loveday, so I call Loveday next and then on to Graham.
As usual, Mike has come up with exactly what I was going to raise. So yeah, can I support him on this? I think that I was actually on the committee when that 2,500 was conserved for RE spending and for the development of the new curriculum. And if there is a shortfall in work, and there is a lot of work to do on the curriculum Canuic, so if it can be ring fenced for that within the education budget, there's no reason why it can't come back from cash to the council, but it needs to be ring fenced for that RE work. Otherwise, it just gets lost in the overall budget.
Thank you very much, Loveday. Now, Graham, your hand was up.
I was just going to answer Mike's point about the money coming from other parts of the education budget. That's actually salary time of permanent officers, full-time officers like myself, who are working on. I lead on curriculum Canuic, and I have 3 curriculum advisors who are full-time permanent appointees who work on that project, and a part-time consultant, rather like Linda and Cliffy, who work on the project, who works on the project, paid from a different budget. So there's resource that the council is putting to curriculum Canuic in its broader sense, i.e. not just RE, which will also have some impact upon RE. So, for example, one of my team is going to be working on some of the distance learning, the remote learning, with Cliffy and Linda to help deliver that. So that's just to explain that part of it. With regards to the £2,500, obviously I wasn't the officer at the time, so I'm not sure about the debate. So it's helpful, Loveday, to hear that. Thank you. And then it's up to you guys. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Anna was the next one to put her hand up.
Oh, sorry, I put my comment in the chat that I agree with Mike and Loveday. That was all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Mike, your hand has gone up again, and so has Loveday's.
I'd like to propose, if Loveday is in agreement, if she's prepared to second, that is, and possibly Pete or anybody else, that is, that the money is ring fenced for curriculum Canuic. I personally would be happy for it to be used in any form of curriculum Canuic, even if it wasn't specifically RE but had some tangential connections with it. I would support that fully.
Yes, I totally agree with that. There's always a shortage of money for doing our local stuff, including language, for instance. So I think anything that can be done to improve our offer on curriculum Canuic is a good thing. And if that money can be ring fenced for that, that will be a really good idea.
Thank you very much indeed. So it seems to me that when we come to look at that recommendation, which is recommendation 4 on page 6 of the agenda papers, we might want to add an amendment, come back to the education budget for use for curriculum Canuic. Is that what you are suggesting, Loveday and Mike?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Do you want to word it, or can somebody word it? Perhaps Helen can word it.
Helen, did you get the suggested wording that I put, which is an additional clause for use with to promote curriculum Canuic?
Yes, thank you, Chairman.
But that has been proposed by Councillor Thomas as an amendment to recommendation 4. I think it was seconded by Loveday. So we need to decide on that recommendation when we come to that. But before we do come to any votes, I've got a couple of comments I'd like to make on the budget report as well. And one is to thank Graham for putting this together, because I think the report makes it clear that our budget is on a much more secure basis than it has been for a little while. And it's good to have that clarity in the report. I also note that it says on page 9 of our papers that we have the prospect of a balanced budget at the end of the year, which is always good, rather than a deficit budget, which we're not allowed to have. So I just wanted to commend the report to us, because I think it's a very helpful one for us. What I therefore would like to do is to go through the recommendations one by one, unless you feel we can take all 4 at one time with that amendment to recommendation 4. Helen, you're the one that watches our processes and protocols. Do you have a view as to whether we can take all 4 together or not?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, that's perfectly in order to take all 4 recommendations together. They're all part of the same report. And I can confirm that recommendation 4 has been added on the end for use with Curriculum Canuic. Did you want me to include, Chairman, or the proposer, Councillor Thomas, the words "to be ring-fenced," or was it just for use with Curriculum Canuic?
I'm happy with whatever Loveday feels is appropriate. She's familiar with the terminology better than me sometimes.
I feel it's more appropriate to have "and ring-fenced."
And ring-fenced.
Yes, I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I'll use those words then, to be ring-fenced for use within Curriculum Canuic. Thank you.
With that amendment, I'm happy to propose the recommendations on block.
The overall recommendations. Thank you.
That's just what I wanted to hear. Is anyone willing to second Loveday's proposal?
I will, Bonnie.
Thank you, Bonnie. And so we'll go through the votes then, please, Helen.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. So a reminder, everybody, the 4 recommendations on page 6, with the 4th one altered to include "to be ring-fenced for use with Curriculum Canuic." So as before, if I could ask you to vote for, against or abstain, starting with you, please, Chairman.
4.
Thank you. And Linda Sanders.
4.
Thank you. And Patrick Buckley. Patrick Buckley. Okay. Thank you. And Bonnie Rockley.
4.
Thank you. And Elizabeth Folkes.
4.
Thank you. And Sue Nicholas.
4.
Thank you. And Maggie Thompson.
4.
Thank you. And Sandy Easterbrook.
4.
Thank you. That's Group A, all agreed. All in favour. Group B, Anna Corbett.
4.
Thank you. And Felicity Henchley.
4.
Thank you. That's all agreed by Group B. And Group C, David Barton.
4.
Thank you. That's all agreed in Group C. And Group D, Councillor Jenkin.
4.
Thank you. Councillor Thomas.
4.
And Councillor Mitchell.
4.
Thank you. That's Group D, all agreed. So those recommendations are carried, Chairman.
Thank you very much indeed. And thank you again, Graham, for the budget report. We move on to 7. And this is on page 10 of our agenda papers. And there's an appendix with additional information about training. I'm going to ask Linda and Cliffy to introduce this report to us, but I just wanted to say that it's really good to see the progress being made now that the pieces are being picked up after the original lockdown and the period of enforced inactivity from our point of view during the summer. I know schools were incredibly active, and school staff, support staff, teachers, all the staff have been amazingly hard-working ever since all this started, and are really all tired out. And so if I talk about enforced inactivity, I'm not referring to them at all, because they've been exemplary in what they've done. But of course, from a SACRI perspective, we just had to hold back from the launches. And when we had our meeting in September, we were picking up the pieces from the cancelled launches and from last financial year's activity. And it's really good to see in this report that we are indeed picking up the pieces and we have some really interesting, exciting proposals to go through. Anyway, that's enough from me. I'm going to ask Linda and Cliffy in whatever order to introduce this report.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. It's my turn to take the mic, so to speak. But Linda will be chipping in to back some of the things or to correct me when I say something incorrect. I'm hoping you've all had a chance to look at this, the report. There are 3 recommendations which we'd like to propose. The first one that, well, not the first one, but the 3 are there. And there we have got strands that we'd like to, that make things easier for you to follow, to see what we are working on. Strand A being the one about the RE Today CPD packages, and I believe that's the Appendix 1 on page 16 of the pack is what they are suggesting they do. But together with that, I'd just like to talk about the Strand C at this stage. We are very fortunate to have Nikki Bonnell and our very own Felicity, who have offered to do the training for primary schools in Cornwall. And dates have been set, and invitations and leaflets, flyers have been sent to all schools on the Understanding Christianity training, so that schools can implement our new agreed syllabus to the best of their ability. So that the flyer that is in Appendix 1 about the Understanding Christianity is not applicable for primary schools. However, we have asked RE Today to confirm that they will be available to do the training for secondary schools. There are some dates that are suggested for the secondary school training for Understanding Christianity, and that was to happen in December. But I've asked Stephen Pett and Lat if they could postpone that to the 20th of January to be the first one. I'm still waiting to hear back from them to see if they are happy to start the first Understanding Christianity training for secondary schools. So that's basically talking about 2 of the strands. We are working on Strand D at present, like Graham mentioned. So we're all working on that between Graham's department and Linda and myself. We are putting things into progress there. So that's something we're working on. What else is there? Strand E. Linda, I'm not sure about this because it has to do with the Faith Forum, and I'm not sure how far we are with that.
Well, Rita is here with us as well today, Cliffy, so I'm sure she'll recognise some of this, but we are asking SACRE to give us some backing so that we can work with CFF over the coming months to make sure that some of the programmes that they're proposing are supported by and help to be developed by schools and teachers working on materials for their projects. So Rita, I don't know if you want to say anything at this point. There will be, I think her hand is up actually, there will be some discussion I think at our next meeting with CFF, which I think is very soon. Thanks.
Yes, thank you very much, Linda and Cliffy. I must say I was very pleasantly surprised when I received my pack, which I always look forward to. Secretary pack, because I didn't know that you proposed to. This is wonderful, because this project is completely voluntary at present. It's very exciting because it's a project by Cahilet Kerno, Cornwall Faith Forum and University of Falmouth. The aim is to create a Holocaust education track for secondary schools in Cornwall. So what we're doing is working with Falmouth University students who I must say are very talented under very difficult circumstances at the moment, but they're creating animations based on the story of Blanca, who is Cynthia's mother, who survived Auschwitz and other concentration camp, and she's an amazing woman. And Cynthia is part of Hewlett Colonel and moved to Cornwall last year. So these animations will be finished in time for Holocaust Memorial Day. But what would be absolutely wonderful is to have teachers involved in creating lesson plans, because there's so much issues that are coming out of the animations, and just working with young people, although they feel they're a long way from their secondary school experience. I don't think they are, because they're only 19 or 20, but they obviously feel very old. So but it's wonderful. I've also talked a lot to them about their experience of their Holocaust education themselves and what they advise us to do. So we are very delighted by this. Thank you very much, the Secretary, and we're very excited to be working with secondary school teachers to make it as good as we can, and possibly also then to we can then use it for other secondary schools in the UK if it works out well. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Rita. Can I just qualify that, of course, by saying we haven't actually agreed this yet, but this is the proposal. So we have discussed it with the hub leaders at the programme leaders of our training sessions earlier this term, when we had a discussion with them about how this might be used or developed with teachers in the area. So thank you very much. Cliffy, is there anything else you want us to say about that?
No, nothing else to say about Strandy. No, thank you. Right, so that's pretty much taken through all 5 of the strands. And so therefore, I think, unless there's any questions or comments, that we can go on to the recommendations, Chair.
We will indeed do that, but before we do, I would like to give members of SACRE the opportunity to ask any questions or make comments on the report. So if you would like to do that, would you please use the raise hand facility? I'm scanning my list of you, and I see no raised hands, and I think that is indicative not of boredom or lack of interest, but I think it is indicative of clarity, and also, I hope, as I feel, some sense of excitement that we're actually beginning to do things at SACRE now for people in schools, which is really what we want to do. So, a final call for anyone who wishes to make a comment or pose a question on the action plan report. No, the baby is very keen, and I take that as baby language for wholehearted endorsement. It's
I think so.
So her future we're talking about here.
Exactly.
So perhaps then we can move to the recommendations. There are 3 of them on page 10. The first, that SACRE receives this report outlining the actions. Secondly, that we approve the 5 strands of the CPD programme, and I must make a comment here to say how helpful it is to have those strands identified like that. I think we can now follow through in our understanding of what's happening more easily. And thirdly, that the local authority continues to enable the delivery of the programme. And as you know from earlier, the budget does allow for this to happen because the budget has been shaped around this particular set of recommendations. So, Helen, if we can take all 3 recommendations on block as we did before, I'm going to invite someone, please, to propose that we accept these 3 recommendations.
I'll propose that we take all 3 as read. I agree with you, John. It's so nice to have those 5 strands clearly identified. And also with the previous recommendation, which we've just passed, that the 2,500 currently held by cash comes back in. Strand D, it would be nice and tidy if that was going to be 2,500, but the fact it's 2,000, then that fits in very nicely with the proposal that Mike and Loveday made. So that fits well. So I propose that we take all 3 as they stand.
So proposed by David.
And I'd be delighted to second, John. Anna Corbett.
Thank you very much, Anna. So, Helen, we have a proposal with the seconders, so would you like to take us through the voting?
Thank you, Chairman. So we're voting for, against or abstaining, starting with you, please, Chairman.
4.
Thank you. And Linda Sanders?
4.
Thank you. Patrick Buckley?
4.
Thank you. Bonnie Rockley?
4.
Thank you. Elizabeth Folkes?
4.
Thank you. Sue Nicholas?
4.
Thank you. And Maggie Thompson?
4.
And Sandy Easterbrook?
4.
Thank you. And Anna Corbett?
4.
Thank you. And Felicity Henchley?
Sorry, could I just say something? Do I need to declare an interest for Strand D?
Thank you, Felicity, for making that point. It may be better if you simply abstain in the voting.
Yeah, I abstain.
Okay, thank you. I forgot to announce, Chairman, sorry, Group A is all in agreement, and now Group B is in agreement. Group C, David Barton?
4.
That's Group C in agreement. And Group D, please. Councillor Jenkin?
4.
Thank you. Councillor Thomas?
4.
Thank you. Councillor Mitchell?
4.
Thank you. That's Group D, all in agreement. So all those recommendations are carried by each group, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Helen, and thank you again to Linda and to Cliffy and to Rita for their contributions to that discussion. What I found particularly gratifying was page 22 of our pack, which is a calendar of training events. I have never seen so many training events put on by the Cornwall Sacre listed on one page before, and it's really heartening to see that we are making this provision in support of religious education in our schools. That goes to show, though, of course, that there's still more to do, because making a plan is one thing, carrying it out is another. And so we wish our consultants well as they implement the plans that we have just agreed.
Thank you.
Now, that takes us to the end of item 7. And number 8 is items of any other business, and no one has told me of any which they want included, and I've got none of urgency at all. But if I may, I would just like to, before I do, I was going to make some concluding remarks, which I will indeed in a moment, but I've got 2 hands up I've just seen on my list. So Felicity, your hand is up, and Rita, your hand is up.
Sorry, taking my hand down.
Oh, right, okay. And Rita, your hand is up as well.
Just a question, is it possible for members of Sacre to do the webinars, and because I think they cost £30, but can I just ask, is it possible to do them, and how much would we pay, and how would we do it?
A good question, Rita. I don't know the answer, but I'm hoping I know someone who does.
Are you talking, Rita, are you referring to the webinars about the training for the new agreed syllabus on page 22? Yes. Unfortunately, Linda nor I have the expertise to run those webinars. They will have to be done by RE today as the authors of the agreed syllabus.
Yeah, so but does that mean that we can still
if she can attend the webinar that the teachers attend?
It's a question you can send straight to RE today after this meeting and find out how Sacre members can register and how much it would cost. I suspect the answer will be the same as the cost to schools.
Yeah. But thank you, Linda.
Thank you. That raises the question that if a member of Sacre is able to join a webinar and wants to do so, and there is a charge, whether Sacre would support that member in meeting the charge. I would like to think that we would do that, because I think it will come under the heading of training for members of Sacre, which is quite important for us. But David, I see your hand is up already.
Yes, could we urge them that they should not be charging Sacre members the same as they're charging schools? I'm not saying they shouldn't be making a charge, but we don't necessarily have responsibility for teaching the 1,500 children that the head of a large secondary school might have, a colleague from a secondary school might have, for example. I think it would be, we're the ones who have commissioned RE today to provide the agreed syllabus, obviously with SACRE's help. It would be nice if they acknowledged and recognised that there are some SACRE members who might want to attend pathway training to see what we're getting for our buck.
Yes, I entirely agree with you, David. I think they should let us in for free. Loveday?
I was just going to say the same, actually. I think we've commissioned the work, and therefore we ought to be at least given at cost, if nothing else. They might be arguing this is at cost anyway, but it does seem a bit unfair that the work's been commissioned. We want to see what the results of that work is in the webinar, and we'll have to pay for the privilege of doing it. If we do have to pay, I do think that there is money within the SACRE budget that should support SACRE members to be able to attend.
Thank you. Linda?
May I just thank you, John. I did only say I suspect they'll say the cost is the same for schools. We'll start those negotiations. But John, can I also make a suggestion that, as this is SACRE's wish, that conversation might come from the chair to RE today? Very happy to do it on SACRE's behalf, but it would be good to have your backing.
I am very willing to have a conversation with Lap Blaylock about this and use what exercise what influence I might have on RE today to let us in.
Thank you.
Cliffy, your hand is up still. You muted, Cliffy. I can't hear you.
Sorry, I must speak softly. I was muted, I think. I was just going to say, to add to Linda, what Linda had to say, the original launches, the SACRE members were allowed to go in for free. Oh. So if you play that card as well, John, then maybe they'll let you all in for nothing.
All right, thank you very much indeed. Okay. I'll remember that. So I will move to conclude the meeting and say thank you to all of you for your contributions today. I attended the NASACRE AGM, the virtual AGM. I think it was last month, Linda, wasn't it?
Yes, John, no, sorry.
Yes, it was November.
I didn't know you were going to mention this, but yes, you did. It was the extraordinary meeting because we had to cancel the AGM in May. Yes,
it was the extraordinary meeting in place of the AGM, and I just wanted to say and to remind members of SACRE that the National Association of SACREs is a body that we have belonged to as a SACRE ever since it began in 1993. The meeting was an excellent meeting. There was some really interesting discussion about what is happening in the field of religious education nationally, particularly with the suggestions from the Commission on RE's report on the naming of the subject as religion and world views. But I wanted also to remind you that the chair of the National Association of SACREs is our own Linda. And if you had forgotten that, then you needed to be reminded. And she made a most excellent presentation.
Turn my camera off, you're covering me in confusion here. Thank you very much.
But I think I was very, very pleased that she spoke so well. And I just wanted you to know how well she spoke. I finally, from the association, you may have already come across the fact that there is a consultation going on faith and society, held by the Housing and Local Government Department. And the consultation, I think, is open until something like the 10th of December. And it's asking people, whoever wishes to be consulted, to join in, questions about the interface between faith, religion, belief and society. And there is a section on education in that consultation. And I thought that as members of the SACRE, you would like to know about it if you don't, and you might like to have a look at it and respond in whatever capacity you wish to respond. I don't have the link to hand. I had it open this morning, but I don't have it open on my computer right now. But what we can do is email that around so that everybody will have the opportunity if they wish. So I think that's all from me. Again, repeating my thanks for coming in today, for making such an interesting meeting. We've done a lot of good work, and we're going to go on and do lots of good work still. Thank you all very much indeed. I hope you keep safe, and I'll see you probably the other side of Christmas.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Happy
Thank
Christmas.
you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Happy Christmas. Bye.
Nadolig Lowen.
Aye.